Welcome to the Tie-Dyed Therapist. I'm your host, Richard Killian. In this episode, we're going to talk about why do I consider myself a little unconventional and why on earth tie-dye? First off, I consider myself unconventional because I like to approach problems from different viewpoints. I like to try different things that are considered out of the box. The very first experience I remember where I was truly unconventional and got into a lot of trouble was I was working at a human service agency about 20 years ago in a very poor community in Massachusetts. And I was meeting with a woman who worked in a factory there. She was a middle-aged lady. She lived by herself. She was a severe alcoholic. And unfortunately, in those days, treatment was not as good as it is today. And she really did not have the means to go for a long-term detox, which is what she needed. What ended up happening was she, against medical consideration and advice, she decided to detox herself. And it took her a couple weeks, but she white-knuckled it and she didn't get sick to the point where she had to go to the hospital, and she cleaned herself up. But once she did that, she needed a lot of support. And more importantly, she needed support from people in her community. So the obvious answer at that time was for her to start attending 12-step groups, Alcoholics Anonymous. There was a very active group that was meeting on I think a Wednesday night, but she was terrified about going herself. So being really young, not really understanding much about clinical protocols and all of that, I offered to take her, and I offered to sit in the meeting with her for that very first time. And what happened was we did go to the meeting together. She did sit in on it. She realized that she had really nothing to fear. And from that moment on, she went to the meetings by herself. But I got into a lot of trouble when my boss found out about that, because it isn't something that therapists typically do. We don't go to 12-step groups with people. It's been over 25 years since that happened. I still get emails and letters from this lady every couple of years telling me that she's still sober and that her life changed, and thanking me for sitting with her in that meeting. So it's an unconventional approach. It's not something that people normally do, but in this situation, it worked and it mattered. So that's what I mean about unconventional approaches to everyday problems. Now, for something a little bit lighter, why on earth am I the tie-dyed therapist? Well, to start with, during the pandemic, I did a lot of virtual sessions out of my bedroom. I had a very nice chair set up. I had a nice table lamp. I had an ottoman to put my feet up, and I could talk all day to people. And like all of you that were working during the pandemic from home, I wore the most comfortable clothes I could possibly find. And believe it or not, and you will see in future episodes, I have a lot of tie-dye shirts, and I love them. They're comfortable, they're colorful, and what I find is that they comfort people. I'm fast progressing to senior citizen status, and tie-dye reminds me of a bygone era, where things were just simpler, it seemed. And so I wear a lot of tie-dye to comfort and cheer myself. My 2 young children love it. And I thought it was a great twist on a logo. So that's why I'm the tie-dyed therapist. I hope you enjoy it. Hope you enjoyed the episode today. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.